Making your way through work Monday takes everything you got. Then Monday night rolls around and you realize there's a shot. You're only 10 points away. All those times when your team had no fight, they're just so gosh darn frail. Then your star quarterback let another deep ball sail, and your third round pick bet on his team. Then go check out our strength where everybody knows your pain, and they listen to complaints. You wanna be where you can see our bodies bring you no shame. You wanna go where everybody knows your pain.
Welcome into another edition of the Dad Bod Fantasy Squad. I am Rob, along with House and Alex. Boys, how's it going over in Columbus? I know up in Cleveland I have a crazy storm, so hopefully connection stays good and my dogs don't go too wild while there's thunders going nuts. But House, how was your weekend, brother?
Busy, my dude. You know, running around like always. We were talking about it before we got on. Flag football with the kids all day Sunday, so I didn't get to watch a ton of stuff early on. But you know, keeping busy.
There you go. There you go, Alex. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. I had an eagle golfing on Saturday. I holed out from 145 yards, so that
Look at you.
it's a good weekend.
Little niner or pitching wedge?
It was pitching wedge, 145 pitching wedge.
Look at you. Okay, you can swing the sticks. You can
Sometimes.
swing the sticks. Not
Sometimes.
bad, not bad. All right, boys. So we have the early slate Sunday games to go over before this Monday night game. Giants Dallas. I'm excited. I have Saquon going in my one league. I need him to put up 30. I mean, it's doable. Do I expect it to happen? Probably not, but you know, you can hope for miracles, right?
I have all kind of stuff tonight, man. I got Dallas's defense. I got Saquon. I got Pollard. I got Zeke.
I got Pollard going in a couple, but like the one league that like it's borderline is I need Saquon to put up like I think 30 and a half.
I hope he does.
So
I'm going against Dallas defense and Zeke, and I'm up 20. So fingers crossed.
Fingers
Dallas
crossed.
stinks it up.
Hopefully we get 10 to 15 receptions from Saquon.
Well, what's going to happen is it's going to be like a 7-6 game, and none of us are going to be happy by the end of it.
Probably. You're probably right. I mean, I hope not. I hope it's a high-scoring game. You got two, not so great quarterbacks going at it, and hopefully there's a lot of points. I'd be excited. I wanted an exciting game, man. Last night I was hoping for something good.
And that was terrible.
It was one of the worst games.
It was terrible.
What was it, 11-10? That's the second time in NFL history that's happened. 11-10. Jimmy G just stepping out of the end zone. Like, what's going on? Russ looks. I digress. That's not for this episode, people. Stay tuned for tomorrow for that. We'll get into that tomorrow. But let's start with the early slates. We'll start with the Thursday night game. We'll recap that. That was the Browns Steelers. Some unfortunate news out of Cleveland. The Myles Garrett news. Car crash. Hopefully he's okay. And one, you just hope he's okay in general. Two, you hope it doesn't derail his season too long because he's a special player, and that sucks if it does. Just for him in general, because I know he had high expectations for himself for the season. But hopefully everything works out and he's all right. But let's get into the game itself. So Browns Steelers. House, I'm going to let you do the thing on the Steelers because I think we'll make this kind of hopefully a tradition here for you on the Monday review, where you can just air your grievances about the Steelers and let me know what you think. Who's playable? I mean, Deontay looked good. He looked the surprise best game of the year. Najee didn't do terrible. Let us know what you think, and we'll dive into the Browns after.
All right. So Najee, he's still going to get his work, right? It wasn't his best game. It wasn't his worst game. The line does him no favors. I think he's back there looking for holes. And even when there is one, he's not used to it being there, so he misses it. And
me too, Tiffany. Me too.
And he's running right into the back of his offensive lineman when they're not getting put on ice skates, staring right back at him. Quickly losing faith that he's going to finish in the top 5, kind of that we all thought he was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Trending towards low end RB1. I still think he'll finish in that top 12 just because of volume, but quickly moving towards the back half of that. Deontay, I still think is the target hog there. He's what do you have? 8 catches for 84, I think.
80 side. He dropped
Something like
one that would have went big too. He dropped like a 20-yarder.
Yeah.
He looked good. I mean, and he was doing it against Denzel Ward, one of the premier, coverage corners in the league.
Yeah, so I think he's clearly still the go-to guy there. Matt Canada and the play calling is terrible.
Yeah.
Can we just quickly recognize that catch from George Pickens, though, even though that's the only thing he did?
Yeah.
That
I know,
was
man.
ridiculous.
Look, okay, I
He's
understand.
great.
The dude, he can make the circus catch. I was super high on him coming into the season. I think by all accounts, like the dude's a good player. It's just one of those things that gets me so mad on Twitter with like, okay, he made an unbelievable catch, but it's like the fantasy football like community was ready to crown this dude like he's the next coming after the catch. But it's like, okay, look at the rest of the game. He had two catches, which isn't his fault. It's not his fault by any means. It's play calling. It's how they scheme it up. It's him being on the field. It's Mitch Trubisky trying to get him the ball. But it's just like, all right, pump the brakes. The dude made a circus catch. I loved it. It was every bit of the Odell catch. But man, pump the brakes. They're like, go trade for this guy. He's coming.
Yeah.
He's in line to be, the next guy. But it's just like, all right, I mean, he's pretty much. How many catches does he have on the season? Like 8?
No, not even that many. I was
gonna say 5.
No, he's.
I mean,
have to
he
look
can
it
be
up, but
special though. He can be special. Like, there's no
yeah.
doubt about the talent. It's just
talent's there for sure.
Yeah, it's just like him getting on the field.
Yep.
Alex, my dude. Oh, wait, keep going. So, all right. House, my bad.
No, you're
so
good.
we talked Najee. We talked
5
Deontay.
catches.
I'm with you. I think Deontay is like the go-to. He's always going to be the go-to there. He demands a huge share of this offense, which is great. It's just it sucks that it's kind of, I mean, I think he'll be fine. I had high expectations for him because he was wide receiver 8 last year.
Yeah.
PPR. I don't think we're going to see anything near that. I'm thinking, like back end wide receiver 2 is kind of where I'm leaning just because of the play calling, the offense, the quarterback play.
Yep.
They're not going to find the end zone too much. And when they do, it's more than likely going to be Najee. So his cap, I mean, he's limited in what he's going to be able to do.
100%.
Which sucks because he's a great player. Dynasty, I'm trying to buy him now just because he's probably lower than he will be. Like in the Dynasty League, I'd love to have him because if they can get this dude a quarterback and a play caller that can kind of scheme stuff up for him, he could be legit, like a legit top 10 player every single year. But redraft wise, it's a tough go where you took him.
Yeah, that's play calling, man. That's all. The Steeler fans are never happy. You would think for a team that's won as much as the Steelers have over the years, there's always something wrong with the coach. Everybody wants to fire Tomlin, but everybody outside of Pittsburgh seems to be all right with him. Mario and I have that conversation all the time. I can't stand Matt Canada. He was an offensive coordinator at Pitt. Didn't like him when he was there. All gadget plays, trick plays.
It's rough, dude.
But he is not an NFL OC. Get him out of there, and let's be done with it.
Yeah, I agree.
I see what you're laughing at. I see it. Put it up there.
I ain't gonna put it
up there. It's fine.
Felix coming in hot, man.
We'll
You
take
get
it.
some
Right now.
Browns fans in here. Things start flying around. Hey, I'm not speaking on it. I'm not speaking on it.
Couple good shots on Big Brother. It'll level out.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, I digress. Anybody else besides those two?
Freiermuth is underutilized. I still think he's
That's a
of
good
the
one,
better
right?
weapons
So,
on the offense.
like, where do you kind of see him finishing the year? Do you see him inside the top 12, or do you see him fading out?
I did at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, me too.
But the way they used him the other night, I mean, they didn't target him until the last 4 minutes of the game.
He did nothing until the last like couple of drives.
2 big catches over the middle.
Not really, dude.
No,
not really. Like he didn't throw the ball to him until like you said, like the final 4 minutes. He's good. I mean, he's proved that he's pretty good. Tight end sucks this year. Look, if you don't have the top 6 or 7, like Goddard or Zach Ertz, that kind of area.
Yeah.
Every week is a dart throw, pretty much. Like, who thought Njoku was going to go off for
nobody
26 points or whatever he did? It's just like one of those things, you never know really week to week with those back end tight end ones, like what you're going to get.
It'll level out, obviously.
Yeah.
It always does. The best players tend to rise to the top, but
yeah,
all these so-called weapons that the Steelers have, and I think they're legit players. The receivers on the outside, Freiermuth, Najee, they're all going to get wasted, I think, this year, and they're all going to finish lower than we anticipated coming into the season, 100% based off of play calling and quarterback.
Yeah, it's weird, man, because they have 3 legit. I mean, in my opinion, 3 legit receivers that can be good.
Yep.
You have a good running back. I don't know if I'm ready to say he's like top 5, top 6 talent wise, just because last season he had such, he had so much volume.
He was inefficient. Yeah.
He's inefficient, but is that on him, or is that on, again, offensive scheme calling and the offensive line? And then you have a quarterback like Mitch Trubisky that just, he seems hesitant to really like open it up a little, he's trying not to mess up.
Yeah.
And in the NFL, a quarterback that tries not to mess up is not going to be good for definitely fantasy purposes for anybody. Like, it's not going to make anybody relevant, really. And it's not, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you're just playing to be close at the end of the game to kick a field goal and try to win it. I feel like that's what they're trying to do.
It's a mess. And I don't even know that if they make the change and bring in Pickett, if it's going to make any difference, because I think it boils down to Canada.
It's tough, man. Like, how do you
trust them to check at the line? Nothing.
How do you throw a rookie quarterback that you kind of like want to be your next guy in line behind this offensive line that clearly something's, it's like clearly not clicking? I don't know. Because you're throwing him to the wolves and hope he like survives, and if he doesn't, like, you're back to square one.
The line did probably play their best game of the year.
They did, actually.
They Thursday did night, though. I mean, Dan Moore got thrown around by Garrett a couple times, but I don't think he had a sack. So maybe that's a positive sign, but it's still not looking great.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's stop talking about this game. I'm getting
bad. Well, Alex, did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it.
Okay. Thoughts on the Browns?
I think it's going to be what everybody's thought going into the season. Cooper's going to get targets. Chubb is still Chubb. I think Hunt is going to be kind of the question mark. Is he going to be the high end RB2 this season? I don't know. I think he's at best probably a flex play going forward. But yeah, they look. Brissett looked better than I thought he would, but it still comes down to me: are they going to be able to win big games against good teams with his arm? I don't think so. He throws nothing but 100-mile-per-hour fastballs every throw. He doesn't have touch still, so luckily with Cooper, they're going to take advantage of that. A lot of ends. There's just not going to be a lot of touch passes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to benefit Njoku and Cooper. He's just going to throw bullets 10 yards. Bullets.
Yeah, which I'm fine. I mean, just from like the Browns, glasses, because that's why I wanted you to talk on him, because I'll speak on it like, obviously like a fan. Dude, he's way better than I anticipated, for sure. Like I don't
like the other night. The play calling's what's
100%. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. Is okay. Stefanski is really scheming up games where there's always an open receiver. Not always, but like a lot of the time there's somebody with some separation, with some room. The difference this year is Brissett's actually finding that player. Baker never found him in the past. So if you look at the EPAs and all the advanced metrics and stuff like that, the Browns are in the top 5 in offensive efficiency, which who would have thought that coming into the season? Everyone thought that the Browns defense was going to be the holding them down until Deshaun Watson gets there. It's really the offense is holding the defense.
Oh, the defense is bad.
Oh, it's brutal. It's brutal. And really if Garrett's out now for however long he's going to be out.
We talk about Denzel Ward and, him going against Deontay and how, one of the premier corners in the league. I don't see it. This whole season, I have not seen him as a premier corner.
Denzel shut down DJ Moore week 1, but how much is that like Baker Mayfield sucks?
What did DJ Moore do last? What did DJ
Moore didn't do anything?
This is fair.
He hasn't done anything all year.
This is fair.
The Browns defense is worrisome. To be honest, 100%. The Browns haven't played anybody really special. But I think the main difference between Baker and Brissett is the team was left in Baker's hands to make decisions when Stefanski is letting Brissett know you get 2 choices and you have 2 seconds. It's Cooper or Njoku. If you get a little bit longer than that, maybe you're able to look at Donovan Peoples-Jones or somebody else. But it's like what Jerry Jones said regarding CeeDee Lamb. I don't care if you're getting double teamed. You're a wide receiver 1. Figure it out. With Cooper, Stefanski saying to Brissett, I don't care if he's being covered. You feed him the ball.
He's good. Cooper's every bit of Cooper from like 3 years ago.
I like it. I mean, I really like it. I'm surprised about he is breaking his routes out so good. It's making Brissett look better than what he really is.
It's fair too. I mean,
that trade looks like a steal right now.
A 5th round.
100%. 100%.
I do that 1,000 times out of 1,000 times.
Watson's going to have a field day with him.
Okay. That's kind of where I wanted to lead to this. Like the Browns are offensively look this great with Jacoby Brissett. Now you throw in an MVP caliber quarterback.
Yeah,
it could be legitimately scary. Kind of some Philadelphia-esque of what we're seeing. I mean, in my opinion, again, I'm a Browns fan, so it could just be kind of. I got the glasses on.
Realistically, they could.
I mean, Nick Chubb is number 1 in fantasy points in PPR, and I think he's got like 3 catches.
Chubb's a dog, man.
Okay, so let's touch on this really quick, and then we'll move on.
Yeah.
So Nick, I just mentioned it. Nick Chubb is RB1 in the first 3 weeks. Are you trying to sell him?
No.
If you have him?
No.
Do you realistically think he's going to finish inside the top 4 or 5 in PPR?
Yes.
I disagree.
I
don't know that I'm trying to sell him, but I don't think I think all those receivers that are going to get catches, they're just going to stack those up, and it's going to continue.
This is a fair point.
It's going to continue.
There's no RBs.
That's why I literally was about to say that. There is no RBs.
Where are the RBs this year?
The bell cows do not exist. You have a James Robinson who
is wild.
Is giving up more catches to ETN but those power guys aren't Chubb. They're not getting the touches Chubb gets. It's for me. Chubb,
he's
low end PPR is top 8.
So this was the big debate in preseason with the whole news about Deshaun Watson. He's going to be suspended. Are they going to let Nick Chubb run the ball more? Right? Are they going to let him open up? He's on pace for, I want to say like 320 some rushes, which would obliterate his previous highs. He's always in like the 250, 260 range.
Paid him. Get your money's worth. This is the time.
It's a fair point to think about, right? Like they're going to run him until the wheels fall off this season, or at least the first 12 weeks of the season. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm thinking about shopping him. I really don't know, just because he's been so good, so efficient. The offense has been so efficient. Again, is it because of who they've played the first 3 weeks? That kind of plays a part into it. But again, like, who are you trying to trade for? Like, are you
Don't
DeAndre
trade him.
Swift's going to be out for 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks. I saw his shoulder. They're talking about sitting him down until after their bye week. Jonathan Taylor's done with absolutely nothing. Christian McCaffrey's wildly disappointing. The past, I mean, he had his week 2 was pretty good, but other than that, I think he's been RB2 worthy. We'll see what happens with Saquon tonight. That's kind of an interesting, like Nick Chubb for Saquon. I think you would have to throw somebody with Nick Chubb to get Saquon. I don't know if you have Saquon, would you give him up for Nick Chubb?
No.
Right?
Or
Like,
no. Saquon for Chubb, yes.
You would trade Saquon Barkley for Nick Chubb, PPR?
100%.
It's interesting, man. It's an interesting debate just because you know that Nick Chubb is going to finish the season with like 20 to 30 targets. And that's targets, not even reception. So it's hard to like.
Yeah, that's a calculated gamble with that one, right?
It is.
Because you know that Chubb's not going to get the work in the receiving game.
Yeah.
But you also know that stigma with Saquon. Even though he's looked good so far, that
Mm-hmm. I mean, the dude's on pace right now for in a 17-game season. I think it's something like right under 2,000 yards and like 20-some touchdowns. That's his pace. Is it doable for him? Sure, I think he's the best running back in the game. Is it likely? I don't see it. It would be a season it'd be a historic season if he does it.
Crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like hard to bank on that. But I get it. I mean, I love Nick Chubb. I wish I had him on my team because maybe I'd win some games. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep this ball moving. Now that we're done with the 2, homer teams, we'll keep this sucker rolling. All right. Bills Dolphins. This was an interesting game for me. I'll just speak real quick on what I took away from this game, which was Jalen Waddle is the guy for me to own on that offense.
Yeah.
I think Tua loves him. I think it's a legitimate connection. Tyreek to me is going to be very boomer bust. Other than that, from the Bills side, I'm taking goose egg away from this. The 0, I'm throwing this one out. It was like 110 degrees on the field. People were falling over, cramping all over the place. Buffalo was without half their defense, but it was like you saw it. Like everybody was struggling to even play with how hot it was. So that fantasy purposes wise and like game script wise and stuff like that, I really take not too much away from it just because of how difficult it was. But House, give me your Bills rundown, kind of what you think. Devin Singletary, because he had a monster game. So where are you at?
I'm with you, man. Not a lot to take away from
I think so.
From the Bills. I mean, we know who the weapons are. Singletary had a great receiving day, right? 11 targets, 9 catches, but I mean, he only had 5 coming into this game. So I wouldn't anticipate that this is going to be something that you can bank on him getting that work week over week. It could add a scary dimension to that offense when they decide to run him out there and
they
throw him
should
the ball
be using
because
him.
I mean it clearly works. His high in targets last year I think was 8, and he had 11. In this game. So I think it was all about the game script. It was all about the situation. I don't think there's a ton to take away from it. You know that Allen's he's the guy, right? Diggs, those receivers. You know what you're getting with them. I wouldn't panic. I wouldn't be too high on Singletary. Status quo for me with the Bills.
I'm with you. Isaiah McKenzie. It was good to see him getting a ton of looks and like involvement in the offense. I definitely I think he's probably rostered in most leagues. I would assume he's upwards of 90% or so. He's legit. I think he's pretty good on this offense. He kind of complements Diggs and Gabe Davis. So he's for sure somebody to monitor because he could do some damage down the road. I agree with everything you said, House. Alex, Dolphins. Anything on, what did you see there? I mean, There were some nice games by a couple people. You interested in anybody?
I mean, on this team, roster Edmonds. I'm not saying start him. Mostert, it's still looking like a split backfield. Waddle is the guy to own. That doesn't mean if you have Tyreek Hill, you shouldn't put him in your flex. You definitely should, because that would be stupid not to. But
I mean, they're 4 and 5 right now, aren't they?
Yeah, I still think Tyreek for sure is I mean, he's probably for me like a low end wide receiver one. I think he's there, kind of fading out to for me fading out to wide receiver 2.
Yeah, he's low end wide receiver 1, high end wide receiver 2.
I think Waddle is legit, like a legit top 6 receiver in PPR.
Yeah, I agree. And Tua, that's a guy who's looking like he's probably going to finish as a QB1. So there's going to be a ton of he's got a ton of skill positions he gets to throw to. Mario says, I think Tyreek might be a sell high. I don't know after that game how high you realistically can sell him. So I would probably say don't do that unless you are getting a top 12 receiver that's not Tyreek Hill or an RB1. If you're not, don't sell him. He's going to have his big games. But other than that, like I said, you're not really taking a lot from this. I think what you are seeing is what the Dolphins are going to do. I think the running backs, none of them are going to be consistently RB1 or RB2. Yeah. Those are flex plays. But Waddle looks like a guy who's going to finish in the top 10. So
here's what's interesting about Waddle and Hill, because I know that was something we talked about a lot at the beginning of the year, right? Mm-hmm. Is they only have one target difference so far this year.
Yeah.
So it's 30-29 in favor of Waddle. But the numbers are so weird, man, because it was Waddle's targets by game are 5, 19, and 6. Oh. And Hill's are 12, 13, and 4. So I don't have the receptions right in front of me, but I feel like that was pretty close too. Let me see if
I could pull it. So Tyreek and Jalen reception wise, 20. They have the same for me. I'm seeing the same targets at 29, 29. Tyreek's got 2 more receptions. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I was thinking the same thing. Like Waddle seemed like the guy, right? But when I broke it down a little bit,
that's closer
than it looks.
100%. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's maybe I'm overthinking it just from the eye test kind of from what I've seen personally. That's a good point there, House. I like that. Call me on my bullshit. All right. I agree with everything you said. This running back room for me is very disappointing because I really thought the Dolphins would be a good running team. I really did with McDaniel.
I don't know why. I really don't. Those are my same thoughts going into the season. I don't know why everybody thought the running game. You have 3 running backs who all are very similar. And you have the skill. You have Gesicki, Waddle, and Hill. It doesn't. I don't know why the whole.
Well, look what they did. Look what he did look at what he did in San Francisco. He made nobody's look good.
Yeah, that's why everybody's excited, Alex.
But every coordinator who's been at San Francisco, it's not like they had the same coordinator for years or the same.
He was always the run game coordinator.
Yeah, but that's Kyle Shanahan ran that offense. He's doing the same thing. It doesn't matter. They don't have the line and running backs and Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, it's something.
So throwing, they're going to
at this point. I'm with you. That's why I was high on him just because of what they did in San Francisco. But now,
I think he's good.
He knows what he's doing.
I just don't. Chase Edmonds isn't amazing. Mostert's not amazing. Gesicki's not amazing, or Gaskin's not amazing. None of them are real, true future backs. So you have Tyreek Hill and Waddle, the 2 fastest guys in the league. Get them the ball.
Fair point. Fair point. And that's why Tua is doing so well this year.
Yeah.
Get them the ball and let them do what they're good at and find the end zone.
Yeah. Don't keep it simple, stupid. Don't overthink it.
Keep it simple. Yep. 100%. Words to live by, people. Words to live by. Okay. Bengals, Jets. A little bit of a different look for the Bengals this week. So that's good to see. House, give me a rundown on Cincinnati. And are you so kind of what I'm looking at this? Obviously, Jamar Chase is going. There are going to be plays. Burrow looked better this week, so he's kind of staying in that QB1 for me. Tyler Boyd, Mixon, like, give me your opinion on those guys. Mixon kind of took a hit. I think they said he's ready to play this Thursday because he got hurt. But Tyler Boyd is interesting to me as like a flex option. Is he playable weekly, or is he more of just like a fill-in for you?
Yeah, I like Tyler Boyd. I think he's, if I'm playing him in my flex, I'm looking at, I probably have, my top 2 receivers, and I have, a 3-4 that are probably pretty similar, and I'm going by the matchups. So there's going to be weeks where I'm running Boyd out there. I don't know that I'm penciling him in the flex every single week like you might on some teams.
Are you comfortable with him?
I am. I think with that offense, he does the dirty work over the middle. Chase and Higgins are the glamour guys, but Boyd, he's going to do his thing, man. He's going to get some red zone targets. He's going to get in the end zone a little bit. He's going to make those tough catches. I'm good with running him out there, but it's probably matchup based for me when it
100%
when it comes down to it.
I like that.
He's got
I like that. Yeah.
He's got 14 targets through 3 games. He's a touchdown dependent guy at this point. If he's not getting a touchdown, then he might get you 6 points, 5 points. So I like him. I'm a
lot
big
of people like that right now.
Yeah. I like Boyd as a player. It's just you've got Chase and he Higgins being injured, that benefited him whenever.
Oh, for sure.
So an injury to either one of those guys come out, he's wide receiver too immediately.
There's also upside from those offenses, right? The third receiver on the Bengals is going to be clearly higher upside as a flex than
like Donovan Peoples-Jones. I'd rather play Boyd.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep. I'd rather play Boyd than wide receiver 2 for the Steelers.
Yeah. I mean, it's where the offenses are. It's kind of if you have that alpha wide receiver 1 that's kind of demanding the majority of the pass work. I get where you're coming from though, Alex, for sure.
Temper the expectation.
Do you guys know, I didn't look this up, so forgive me, and I didn't get too much time to watch this game. I was watching it live with I was at a bar with 20 other TVs going on. Do you know when Mixon left? Did he?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't think he took a snap in the fourth quarter, though. I think I saw that somewhere.
Okay, because I know he had a rough week, but he was hurt during the game.
Yeah,
so
backing him up.
Yeah. Any concerns with him?
I mean, I would watch the ankle, right? Especially on the short week, but I think he's going to be fine by the year end. He's still getting, I think he has 24 touches a game so far, so he's still
in your top, RB1 kind of category.
I think he's another one. I think that we.
So him and Najee, where are you at?
Taking Najee.
I have them both probably in that 6 to 12, 7 to 12 range.
He was one of those guys, man.
So far,
he was one of those. Mixon was going to be this was going to be. I had him high going into the season.
There's no reason.
I'm going to be honest.
It shouldn't be.
We talk about the Steelers' offensive line struggles. Bengals have the worst offensive line in football right now,
which is wild because
Joe Mixon. They tried to upgrade it too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Joe Mixon is going to struggle to average 3 yards per carry. 3 yards per carry. So, he's under 3 yards per carry. And it's not that he looks terrible. The Bengals defense doesn't look as great as it did. They're going to be behind in games. They're going to throw the ball a ton to where there's and it's 3 games in. There's 14 games to play. But as of right now, Mixon is not an RB1 for me.
I don't hate the idea. I mean, for me, long term this season, I'd rather have Mixon because I truly think the Steelers' offensive line has very little ability to grow from where they're at.
Not a ton upside.
Cincinnati's offensive line. This is their first 3 games playing together.
Yep.
Very limited work in the preseason. It takes time for them to kind of get situated, get kind of their game plan together, and their checks and who takes who when this happens and that kind of stuff. So they're obviously, you see the growing pains, but I can see a path for the offensive line to be good. I just can't see it for Pittsburgh. So it's kind of where I'm at. And like Mario was saying here, it's a good point on the defense. I agree. I think that the defense played way above their heads going into the playoffs last season.
Sure did.
I understand why people, thought that they were a good team coming into the season and stuff like that. But it's just like, everyone forgot about the first half of last year and the previous season because they were one of the worst teams in the NFL all the way around.
It's not the same defense either. So,
yeah.
I just think he's one of those guys he's going to get it together. I
like Mixon, but if I'm on the worry scale to my worry, yeah, I am 100%. I was looking at the season drafting him as a possible top 5 running back.
Me too.
And now I'm looking at him as like he could finish anywhere between 8 and 20.
Yeah, I think that's fair. 100%. It's just the thing about it too is like for whatever reason this year really seems like
it's the Bengals.
No, I'm just saying in general for running backs, like
it's a mess.
It's like anybody can finish up anywhere. You would assume like the cream's gonna rise to the top, but it's like you would assume Christian McCaffrey and Saquon and
the C-Mac hate doesn't look that bad, and you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't look that bad. It's consistency.
It's just it's one of those weird years this year. I mean, look at Leonard Fournette, but is it because like his wide receivers are out? Is he going to get back on track when that happens? There's no rhyme or reason to what's happening with the running backs this season.
Right.
It's all for naught with who was drafted and who, like Aaron Jones is a top 5 this year and Jamal Williams is a top 5 this year, but it's so sporadic. Like,
yeah.
It's a good thing. There's almost zero consistency, but besides CEH, James Robinson, and Nick Chubb. Those are the only 3 running backs that have been consistently good. And DeAndre Swift went out, so I would throw him in there too.
But Jamal Williams, even when Swift was healthy, was getting the carries
inside the 5.
He's out. He was out carrying them every game.
Yeah, week 2, like Swift barely saw the field. I mean, he did all his damage on like 10 touches, not even.
Mixon only has 4 less fantasy points through 3 weeks this year than he did last year. So let's pump the brakes. He'll be fine.
That's fair. Yeah. It's just one of the, like, Jonathan
what did he finish
Taylor, like,
RB-wise last year?
Mixon was
11.
I was going to say 10.
See if I can grab it real quick.
But that's my worry. As much of a worry as it is, you drafted him as an RB1, and he might slip to an RB2.
But that's, it's like who? But that's where I'm kind of going is like, I feel like what RB1 that was drafted is producing at an RB1 level.
Few and far between.
I don't see. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's 9th overall.
He was RB4 last year in PPR.
He did it all in one game.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey's like consistently average. Like it's just
it's crazy we say he's average, but he's going over 100 yards rushing. It's just
he's not finding the end zone.
He's not getting the end zone. But
the offense is so bad. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Alex, give me a quick rundown of the Jets. What you think? Where are you at with this backfield? And so Wilson, Moore, and Brees all had over 10 targets, and Zach Wilson's back next week. So like, what are we thinking?
Who freaking knows, dude?
Everything that has happened so far, keep an eye on it, but watch it.
And void.
We don't know.
Null and void. The only thing that I can say is Wilson's going to get targets because he's the new guy in town, and they didn't spend a first round without getting him targets. Carter and Brees both look good. Brees looks better out at catching the ball than I thought he would. Brees is a guy you're going to want.
He's legit.
He's the guy to have.
He's legit.
Right. And it's going to be tough, man. I really, really, really think Zach Wilson sucks. So I just think it's the Trey Lance thing. It's like, oh, 1 year he did this, and it's like, well, when did the other years and the teams he lost to, how good were they? Oh, not that good. And I think Wilson's going to be good. Moore is. Well, I expect the same thing we've been seeing all season. Who knows? He'll have a good day, and then he'll have literally a dog crap day.
So that's kind of where I was leaning, right? So Wilson's coming in. You would think that it would help Elijah Moore because he had good chemistry last year with him.
Right, but then you have Wilson now.
Yeah, it's just like I agree with you. You don't know. The only thing you kind of look at is like snap share and route participation, that kind of stuff, which is it's Wilson, Elijah Moore. And for me, I agree with what you said, House. I think Breece Hall is the guy to own in the backfield.
For sure.
Yeah.
It seems like every week.
I want both.
Every week he's getting more and more work.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it looks like.
Built more like the guy. Carter didn't look bad last year. That's the thing. He didn't look bad. But what I'll say
they
is
wanted Breece.
This is the NFL. You want two running backs. You want them. Even if look at DeAndre Swift, arguably top 5 talent running back in the league. You have Jamal Williams who can still get you 12 to 15 carries a game. And I think that's just where the NFL's gone. I think Breece Hall long-term is the guy. I think he's going to be very good. But don't make it seem like Carter's not somebody you might not start in the flex in certain games because you're going to want to.
I agree. He's up there in targets, man. He really is. I'm pulling it up. I'm sorry. How many targets he has? Because I
hate the Jets and I hate Zach Wilson and I hope they all fail.
I'm fine with it. Let's keep on moving. We got a lot to get to. All right, we're at the Raiders and Titans. House, break down this Raiders offense for me, please, because I don't know.
Me neither.
You got a Rubik's Cube?
It's
not what we thought.
It's Carr, it's Devontae, and I don't think it's been as explosive as we thought. Jacobs kind of is what he is, low end RB2 ish, right? He hasn't gotten the end zone yet, which pushes him down. I was looking at the numbers. If he had one TD this year, he'd be top 15, but he doesn't. So there's that. Nothing outside of Carr and Devontae really excites me here. You know, Mac Hollins, good for you. You had 8 catches on 10 targets.
But
for 150
you're not playing him.
TD, but
is he rosterable?
You're not playing him.
You gonna roster him?
No. Is he? Because as soon as Renfro comes back,
right,
he's right back out the door.
Waller's still there.
That's what I said. Is he a DFS play maybe until Renfro comes back? Can you get him on the cheap and hope? But
Carr's issues are looking, and House knows this. Even 2-3 years ago, I was in our training class saying the hate on Carr. I don't understand the huge hate. The only thing I will hate on Carr, because I don't think McDaniel's play calling has been great so far.
No, I don't either.
It's first time coach. It's game 3. I think it'll improve. But the thing with Carr is he gets too nervous to feed a wide receiver one. He does not want to be a high interception. He's not Matt Stafford. He's got the arm to be Matt Stafford. He will not force passes to Devontae Adams when he needs to sometimes.
Which is weird because he did it week 1. That's why, week 1 happened. I was like, okay, here we go. Devontae's going to finish wide receiver 1.
Gotta consistently do it.
You would think with those two, best friends, college, all that stuff. That if he was going to force it to anybody, Devontae would be the guy.
Yeah.
It could change, right? They're working out that offense. They're figuring it out.
What are you doing with Jacobs?
Starting him.
Are you?
Probably
And
running him
RB2
out there as my
probably.
RB2. I
Yeah.
mean,
He's still an RB2, like we talked about. Running backs,
what are you going to sell him for?
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not
he
going to go
was
out and buy him.
okay.
What are you going to sell him for? If you have him, you play him.
Yeah, he was
plan.
okay. He was okay this week.
He's a guy.
He's a guy. He's a body.
He's just a dude.
He's a starting running back, and that's what you
Yep.
need, right?
Yep. Alex, Tennessee. I mean, they showed up.
I dropped Robert Woods last week, so
There you go.
still I think Tannehill kind of sucks, but Henry's Henry. He's just, you got to start him. He's an RB1. Other than that, I'm not just waiting a game or two. I'm probably waiting like 3 or 4 more games to figure out,
It's a good question.
do you have Sal High and Derrick Henry? Probably not. Like we talked about, there's not really a lot of replacement options when it comes to running back. If you've got like a marquee running back, it's probably not really worth selling right now unless you're getting a top 5 receiver out of it. It's not worth it.
Yeah. No, I don't hate that. I mean, you'd have to get a haul for him.
Yeah.
But I don't see anyone paying up for it.
That's
because he hasn't been the prototypical Derrick Henry.
He hasn't been old Derrick Henry, right?
Yeah, so it's like,
right.
What are you going to trade for? Like a Breece Hall and somebody like.
And even then, is it really worth it?
That's what I'm saying.
It's going to be a 55-45. No, you're keeping Henry. Titans, they've got a great coach. The defense figures it out. Other than that, I don't want anybody besides Henry.
My notes say anyone relevant other than Henry ?
Nope, not yet.
Robert Woods is intriguing, but I'm still. I was high on Treylon Burks. I was high on Treylon Burks coming into this game because of how efficient he was with how few snaps he had coming into this week, and then they give him a good amount of snaps, and he had like a 7% target share. So it's like, I don't know, man. Flipped it on its head, and they looked better. So what do you do?
Yeah, don't want him.
No parts of that offense outside of
I don't know.
Not even one.
All right.
I think Treylon will be all right, but let's keep on moving. Saints, Panthers, ugly game all around. House, let me know what you think on the Saints. Jameis Winston definitely looked hurt for me. I mean, it didn't look like he had the same zip on the ball. It looked like he was laboring. He just didn't look great. Michael Thomas went out. Jarvis went out hurt. Alvin Kamara, he had 60 yards, but his first touch, I believe, went for like 30. So after that, did like not a lot. Where are you at?
Yeah, so at the beginning of the year, I was sneaky high on Jameis, thinking that he could do his thing with all those weapons, but he might be more like old Jameis than I got my eyes fixed at the beginning of last year, Jameis, than we thought.
It sucks. He's got a broken back. The dude, he's trying to gut through it, but don't look good.
Give me all of Chris Olave. I think that he's the guy.
How about this stat? I'll throw this while you say that, right? Chris Olave, air yards in the NFL. Chris Olave has 541 air yards. The next person, Cortland Sutton, at 381.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah. I mean, he was head and shoulders above everybody else running deep last year in college. I mean,
that's why they brought him in, but man, they're giving him opportunity.
He's legit. He's legit.
Yeah. Olave, I would buy all day. Thomas and Jarvis, I think I talked about Jarvis last week. I'm not as high as some people. Thomas, I didn't see what happened.
Toe.
His foot.
It was a toe.
Yeah. With his history, you got to be a little nervous, right?
Yeah, I'm nervous. Sure. I have him.
Yeah, and Kamara, hasn't looked great. Didn't look great from what I saw of the highlights. Still had 17 touches, 5 more targets on top of that he didn't catch. So they're still trying to get him the ball and the workload. So I don't think it's going to be what we're used to, where he's, catching 80, 90 balls running for 800, 900, and doing his thing there. But he's still going to be relevant. He's still going to be
if you can buy
probably not an
low, do it.
RB1, but I see him in that kind of mid to high RB2 range.
Yeah, I agree
with what that offense looks like.
I agree. If they shut down Winston, because it is a possibility for a little, I mean, maybe a couple weeks or until after the bye, or they play Andy Dalton. How does this are you in on anybody after that?
Michael Thomas healthy and Olave are still going to get a ton of targets. Jarvis is the one you're going to want to worry about. They're going to want to get Olave the ball, and Michael Thomas has looked good. I mean, he's looked good so far this season.
Yeah.
And I'm not – with Kamara, I'm still – it's early in the season. It's a new quarterback. The coach is still trying to figure out this offense. If you could buy Kamara low, do it. Like, it's that he's still going to get the targets. He's still going to get the touches.
What are you throwing for him?
I mean, it's the thing. There's the running back shares, like we've talked about. It's going to be hard, but like
a Michael Carter and
maybe a higher end tight end and a lower end running back, or a wide receiver 2 with like a flex running back. Whatever you can get that doesn't sound ridiculous, I think it's worth it, depending on your team. If your team is 0-3 so far this year, maybe not worth it. Or it might be worth it just to drastically change the team, and he could be a guy that if anybody can turn around out of the running backs, I think it's Kamara.
Would you trade Deontay Johnson and Michael Carter for Alvin Kamara?
Yes. Yeah,
I think those are guys.
That's a good one. I was gonna say Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I would, because I think the difference between Deontay season long with Mitch and like a Carter who could lose his job in the snap share in 3-4 weeks to Kamara who's not going to lose it unless an injury happens, it might be worth it. Running backs are hurting this year, guys. It's getting the share is the most important thing right now. We talk about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, like how good he's been, but it's what he's done with what he's got. It's not like he's carrying the ball a lot. It's not like he's just been super efficient.
Yeah, he has. Which is the worrisome part of him.
He's a sell high. He is 100% a sell high.
Yep. I don't hate that. Okay. Alex, Panthers. I spoke on this a little bit. I think Baker he's lowest in the league at QBR. He had 170 yards. I think 70 of them came on that LaVisca screen that, what did Baker do? He flicked it to the side and LaVisca took it 70 yards.
Cue a comment from Mario coming here in a minute.
He doesn't look good. He doesn't look like he knows. I mean, he was 12 of 25 or 11 of 25, 12 of 25. Just like he is murdering everybody on this offense for fantasy. So as long as he's behind center, for me, it's Christian McCaffrey, and then what are you doing?
The only team guy you really want on this is McCaffrey. Moore, you're probably putting as a flex at this point at best.
Put up 2 points this week.
Yeah, and you've got it sucks. I like Moore, but
me too.
It's
He's
McCaffrey, good. And at best, Moore is a flex. If you're starting in wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1, you got to make some changes to your team. Other than that, Baker still sucks. So
he does.
Yeah,
he does.
But that's
Did DJ Moore see a lot of Lattimore?
I would assume.
I didn't pay too much attention to the snap percentage on that, to be honest with you. I would assume so, which is fair.
That would be the only saving grace for DJ Moore, because one of my notes is I'm worried about him.
I'm worried
I think
too.
A lot of us were high on him coming into the year, and we kept saying Baker spreads it around. Can he do it?
He was in my before the season. I did that, trade targets early in the season, kind of that article where I looked at players that I thought were going to get off to a slow start. You can throw something for them. DJ was one of them, but like I didn't think it'd be this bad. I did not think it'd be this bad.
It's ugly right now.
So it's like I'm still interested in him. Like if you can get him for something crazy cheap, I would do it because I think he can definitely turn it around. And if Sam Darnold comes in, which I don't, why not at this point? Again, Matt Rule's job is on the line. The dude's got to win. He's got to win. Like something's got to change.
We're thinking too much into it now for the Panthers. That's too many hypotheticals for this game. Yeah, 100%.
I don't know, dude. I mean, he's got the lowest QBR in the league.
Yeah,
in the league
isn't much better
because he's not good.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about a good, for the most part, of what was a good game yesterday.
Yeah. So let's move on to the Baltimore Ravens and the Patriots. House, give me your Ravens, and then we will give Alex some space to give us his in-depth analysis of this New England offense.
The Ravens offense is Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. The receivers, no matter what we say about them, are going to be the best all year. Alex loves Duvernay. Other people like Bateman. 6 targets between them yesterday. Duvernay scored, which saved his day. I don't
always
know.
Happens.
I think you roster those guys, but I don't feel comfortable running them out there week after week.
At this point, are you playing
flex for me?
How about this? Are you throwing Duvernay in over DJ Moore?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? It's disgusting.
Duvernay's a stud.
I hate it.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. He's getting. I mean,
why is Alex talking about Devin Duvernay?
All right,
this is
that
why.
voice is reserved for Mario. First of all,
I'm not saying you, but
the only other thing I'll say about this is J.K. Dobbins came back yesterday. Didn't get a ton of work.
He'll look better.
What do we think?
Hill looks better.
I don't know what to think. To be honest with you. They're going to slow play him, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
They got to get some. They have to get a run game besides Lamar.
Yeah.
Do they, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Jalen Hurts right now, we're talking about this, but Jalen Hurts is kind of looking the other way like, they're running QBs. I mean,
they're different. They're different running QBs.
Kinda.
I think they're different. Dude,
I mean, I was a Jalen hater,
and
he's gonna hurt. I have Miles Sanders, and it's hurting.
He's built like a brick house.
Yeah, but Lamar Jackson runs so smart though. So smart.
I agree, but it takes one, man. Look at Trey Lance. Like it
We're
wasn't even.
We're talking about Trey Lance, and then you're comparing him to the all-time leading rusher in the NFL. Like, stop.
I'm just saying it was
Cut it out.
I'm not talking about the run. I'm saying the
He's talking about the play.
The play itself that he got hurt on. It was just a scrum right at the line, and someone fell wrong on the dude's ankle.
I don't want to put Dobbins in my lineup until I see something consistent.
Oh, I agree.
They have Hill. Hill looked better. He looked faster than Dobbins. Dobbins just looked bigger. You have Dobbins and Edwards. So you have 3 running backs that can all do it, and then you have Lamar Jackson, who's going to be the leading rusher on that team by a lot.
Yeah, I'm always very nervous of
wait and see.
I'm always very nervous of a running back coming off an ACL. I mean, I know it's way easier now, but I still think it takes a year for them to kind of get back to.
Plus Dobbins, dude, when you look at the game, like, when you average 6 yards per carry, you look at his games, it's like 4 games did that 6 yards. And it wasn't on a lot of touches. It was like 8 carries, 11 carries.
Yeah, I mean,
you got to and I'm not saying a lot of people have high expectations for Dobbins.
A lot of people did coming into the year.
But you've got to tame it because I think he'll be solid. I think him healthy in this offense, he can be solid.
RB2.
I think his high end is a mid-round RB2. I think that's his ceiling. Realistically, in this offense, his skill set, he's a mid-level RB2 at best.
Fair.
I'm with you. That offense, what you're getting. You really do. I think Dobbins is the big question mark. Duvernay is that
Boom or
Interesting
bust.
flex option, I would say. Bateman is I'm nervous of Bateman. I don't like playing him if I can avoid it. Same with Duvernay, but like they're both to me like flexy. Alex, run down your Pats.
What I will say, even though the Ravens defense is not good, the Pats defense for majority of the game did as well as I thought they could have done. It just sucks. The Mac Jones made a couple really bad decisions, kind of panic plays. I don't think he looks that bad. He's injured, so obviously, unless you're in a dynasty and you think long term that he's going to be someone you can end up putting in like a 2 QB, spot, a super flex spot, he's not really worth having. Ramondre, it's I kind of said at the beginning of the year he's the guy you want to own. I like Damien Harris, but Ramondre is the star. He is the flash. So there's surprisingly half the leagues I'm in. Well, not half, but at least 30% of the leagues that I'm in, Ramondre is available. So pick him up.
That's weird. Yeah, he should be rostered.
Yeah,
no question about it.
For sure.
Pick him up. I think he's a flex play. Devontae Parker finally had his coming out.
Thought
game.
Jacoby.
Yeah, not the I'm coming out, but he finally got the looks. He looked the part. The Mac Jones chemistry with him is looking good going forward. But with Mac Jones being out, it's going to be rough for him. They don't have a true wide receiver one. Devontae is going to be the closest thing to it. The O-line's not fantastic, and the defense is banged up again.
So you like Devontae over Jacoby Myers?
I would say if Mac Jones was healthy, I think Jacoby's ceiling is a flex play at best. I think Devontae could end up turning into a wide receiver too.
Okay.
With healthy Mac Jones, which he's not going to be. So.
Yeah, I'm interested to see this offense with Brian Hoyer.
No,
bring in Bailey Zappi.
I want to see Zappi. I don't want to see.
We know what Hoyer is.
I didn't even think about that.
Hoyer's going to come in. He's going to throw 3 touchdowns in the first half, and he's going to throw 4 interceptions in the second half. So I don't want to see him.
I loved him when we had him, but
we've seen that before.
Then you guys started him the next year, and then you didn't love seeing him anymore. So let's be honest, Rob.
Hey, he blew his knee out. Leave him alone. All right, let's move on. Lions, Vikings. House the Lions. Goff looks like a legit, QB2 for sure.
Yep.
He can have games where he'll be in that QB1 conversation. Hawk finally got involved. I think that defense is Minnesota's defense is very vulnerable to the tight end, is what I will say. All 3 games they've given up big points to the tight end position. I think that's a safe play. If you're looking to stream a tight end and you can get a tight end going up against Minnesota, I think that's the weak part of their defense. What do you think? So other than obviously Amon-Ra is great, obviously. Swift is a guy, but like I said, I think he's going to be, they said, he'll probably be out until after the bye. So Jamal's an instant plug-in.
He's an RB1 going forward.
That's what I have, plug-and-play starter.
For sure.
RB1, dude.
Are you comfortable with any so talk about Hawkinson, like where are we at with him, and then any other receiver are you cool with?
Hawkinson, I think I said my piece last week. I still, he's one of those guys, man. TJ Hawkinson. When's he going to do it? Well, he finally had a game, right? I don't have his numbers right in front of me, but I need to see him be consistent. And that's, I think, where I worry about.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Running him out there. And like we said earlier, there's comments out here, tight end scares. We talked about tight ends being a mess. I mean, the talent is there, so you got to run him out there, right? Or you got to at least have him on your roster. Yeah. I said last week that I'm not a big fan of having multiple, tight ends, especially in your in your leagues that aren't as deep, your home leagues, things like that. And I would stream a backup if I needed to. But
Yeah.
The offense seems to be clicking. They seem to be getting it done. So it helps me. Have a little bit more confidence in them than I did. But I don't know, man. I don't feel great. Every week I don't feel great about running them out there.
I traded for him, and I don't feel good about it.
That's fair.
He had 3 catches, 18 yards, and a touchdown. That's what saved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
As far as the other receivers, Josh Reynolds had a nice day, but I think he does the same things that DJ Chark does.
Yeah, just
stretching the field, so they're just interchangeable. So you're not going to rely on either one of them. Amon-Ra doing Amon-Ra things.
Yeah.
I know that you guys are happy about that, but
I better believe
Air
it.
5 Robs.
But yeah, I mean, I think Williams obviously is the key here from this game, the key takeaway. Everybody else status quo as far as the Lions go. So
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
100%.
Can I transition this to the Vikings and put the note in or read the note that I put in for the Vikings?
Yeah, I see it. Go ahead.
Minnesota Vikings, KJ Osborne, Rob, the floor is yours.
That's right, baby. That's right. I mean, he's good, dude. He's just good. He's gonna get opportunity. I mean, Adam Thielen he doesn't look good. Like, he's not doing anything. He had a decent game this week.
Well, he had a
decent game.
pretty good game.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that, but I don't think he looks like the Adam Thielen of the past couple of years
Well,
by any means. Exactly, and that's my point. That's why I'm so high on KJ Osborne this year, where I think there's going to become a transition of, okay, Adam Thielen really isn't the guy moving forward. Like, KJ Osborne is going to kind of take over that wide receiver 2. Look, they're running a ton of 3 wide receiver sets.
Yes.
It's just, I think once Kirk is finally like, okay, like, KJ's good. And I mean, I love JJ coming into the season, dude. The last 2 weeks have not been great for him. It's been a rough go, and I don't know where to go with him because he is supposed to be the wide receiver 1, and I understand he had a couple tough matchups. Jeffrey Okudah is playing out of his mind. All 3 games he's locked down the wide receiver 1, but JJ is supposed to be like, you're not supposed to lock him down. And he's gotten locked down the last 2 weeks. So it's nervous for me. Like, I'm nervous for the rest of the season with him, to be honest with you guys.
I wouldn't be.
Like, are you trying to buy him right now?
I mean, let's think about it.
Are you trading Jamar Chase for him straight up?
No.
Okay.
It's because it's a little different. I think Burrow's a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins is, but I would temper it. It is a brand new coach who is in a pass happy offense. The probability of them getting worse is low. Jefferson is still 6th or 7th right now.
I got him as 8.
I think, depending on what you're looking at through, whatever. He's still
standard.
He's still in standard, so PPR is probably
6.
So right now, if this is, oh man, the end of the world is coming, Justin Jefferson's still 6, to where besides a few no names like Diggs and Kupp and Hill, it's Adams isn't looking, Chase isn't looking. Like, give it time. I wouldn't worry about it. They will figure it out.
I hope you're right.
You're still putting Justin Jefferson as your wide receiver 1. So the conversation, that's what I'm saying. The conversation is
okay. Well, I'm saying where we drafted him, right? Like, people were talking about taking him at 2 overall.
Well, those people are called dumb.
Okay. I mean, it was happening, and he surpassed Cooper Kupp as wide receiver 1 coming off the boards. I mean, it happened early in drafts. Like,
I still think he's a top 5. He still finishes top 5. I think I might have had him as 2 or 3. I think it's still very, very possible. So I wouldn't freak out, but if somebody's
all
trying
right.
to sell,
So
yeah,
you
if
would
somebody's
want it.
selling them. If somebody's selling them low, then take them. Take them.
Would you trade like an AJ Brown and a Brees Hall for him?
Both of them for
Yeah,
him?
I mean that's how. What are you gonna trade for?
That's what it would take.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I might do it.
that's what it's gonna take to get him. I think you can get him at that clip.
Jalen Hurts is going to start playing tougher teams, and it's not. He's playing great. He's playing out of his mind. I think he's an MVP candidate. I will say it. I was wrong. He's looked a lot better.
Good segue because we're doing Eagles Commanders now.
Right.
So take the floor on the Eagles.
All right. So, Mario can have his
Say
round
it,
of
Alex.
applause. You know,
QB1.
he is a key. Yeah, I think it's between him and Lamar, who's going to finish QB1. Like I said, it's my thing with Jalen was he was the question mark coming into the season because this is one of a few teams who are super loaded. Bills are one of them. That Hurts has everything a quarterback can ask for: a great offensive line, a top 5 offensive line, a good tight end, and 2 really good wide receivers, and a defense that's playing. They're playing great. I expected them to play well. They are playing phenomenal. Hurts is a stud. Devontae Smith. Are you going to start him every week? Yes. Are you starting him as a wide receiver 1? Probably not, but he's definitely a flex.
You took him in the 8th, 9th round.
Right.
I mean,
He's a stud, man. That's the thing. Like, it was hard for me to be like, if Jalen Hurts wasn't doing what he's doing right now, then I would have been like, he's wasting talent. Devontae Smith was a Heisman Trophy winner.
yeah. I mean, I'll be quick on
He's
this
that
because
good.
I talked about this last week with Cody. Sure,
So was Tim Tebow.
you're not running.
He wasn't a receiver though.
Like you're putting Devontae Smith in your flex spot, but he is probably at least your wide receiver 2, if not your wide receiver 1.
He's not your wide receiver 1.
Okay.
He might be.
Maybe
he
right
is
now he's not.
he is producing at a higher clip than Devontae Adams right now.
Well, yeah. Last week Devontae Adams had a stinker game, but PPR.
A lot of people had Cortland Sutton as their wide receiver 1.
So if we're going PPR,
yeah,
like Adams finished is so far is 11th. Devontae Smith is where? Probably have to scroll down a little bit.
No, I could get this pretty quick. Hold on.
I was looking forward to it, but my web
got you.
browser's just loading.
He is 64.
He's 18th.
Did I get that wrong, Smith?
Devontae's 18th after like week
In
1.
PPR? In PPR?
Yeah, he didn't put up any points week 1.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So,
But he still had a 95% route participation, which is like
I get it.
the dude's
but-
going to be on the field and get targeted.
Right. But that's my thing. He's a flex. I think depending on your team, you put him as a wide
That's fair.
receiver 2.
That's fair.
But is he a wide receiver 1 right now? No. You've seen it once.
No.
Seen it
I
one
agree.
game.
I agree. I think,
But he's a stud. The talent's there. It's up to the Eagles to figure that out.
He's one of those players. If you took him in like the 8th or 9th, he could get you to the playoffs.
He
Like,
could win you the league.
yeah, yep, 100%. House, give me a quick rundown on what you saw from the Commanders. Is Philly's defense just that good, and there's not a lot to take away? But J.D. McKissick, 9 targets, is eating into Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, he is, which I think it didn't happen the way that we all thought it was going to happen, right? With McKissick getting that receiving work, because we all thought that it was going to be Robinson, and he was going to come in and get the receiving work there. And with Gibson, it was kind of like maybe he stays on the field a little bit more. Probably roster McKissick just based off
100%.
that.
I think so.
I don't know that you're plugging him in all the time, but he's probably a flex in certain weeks.
Yeah.
Eagles defense is good.
Very good.
Still like T-Mac. Wentz is Wentz.
Yeah, man.
He's
like Kirk. He's gonna have those weeks.
He's gonna have great weeks, and he's gonna have weeks where he, doesn't.
Eagles are very
so much.
good. So.
But the Eagles are good, so don't take a ton away from it. See what they do. I don't know who they have next week, the Commanders, but
off the top of my head, I don't know. Yeah, Gibson. The only thing I'll say is we've kind of been alluding past couple weeks like he's a sell high. Like if you can sell him for something decent, I'd probably take it because once Robinson's back, if J.D. McKissick is taking all the receiving work, which he has the past two
You might not want any of the backs starting in your lineup.
I agree. That's what I'm kind of saying is like there's going to be so much going on in this backfield. And if McKissick that's what Gibson was going to be this year, was more of the pass catching back. Looks like they're leaning more towards J.D. McKissick. Once Robinson's back, it's going to turn into just a muddled mess. And like you're not going to want any of them. To be honest, maybe JD just because like receptions will get you points quick. Like he'll put up 10 points, 12 points.
Yeah.
Consistently, maybe. Other than that, like I would try to sell Antonio Gibson while we can.
For sure.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Got a couple of weeks left.
Commanders Cowboys next week. I just looked it up.
Oh,
And solid D.
That's gonna be a nice stink fest.
Solid D.
It'd be
All right, boys. We have some Monday Night Football to get to. Everybody enjoy it. I need to take on to go off.
Cowboys suck.
I'm with you, dude. I just need all I need is 31 points. That's all.
I need a lot from somebody.
That's
I
all.
don't care what side it's on. Jeez, I'm knocking my microphone
Oh
over.
boy, he's excited for this.
I need a lot from
Everybody.
somebody.
He's excited. Catch us. Go check our Twitter out, Dadbot Fantasy Squad. Check us on
Zeke
YouTube.
poop.
All Saquon tonight. Catch us on the Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. We are on Spotify, iTunes, all those major streaming platforms. Go check us out on
All
there.
of them.
I'm Rob. Alex is down there doing his thing. House is knocking over microphones.
It's what I do, boys.
This is the Dadbot Fantasy Squad, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Peace.
See ya.